All right, ladies and gentlemen, your guest on today's Kill Your Internet podcast is I'm pumped for this one. Producer, engineer, fucking studio owner, label owner, fellow Northeast Philadelphian. We have the legend, Mr. Will Yip, on today. Will, how we doing today, buddy?
Dude, what is up? This is an honor to be a part of such a cool Philly connection right now. So I'm
It's
so
what it's all
stoked.
about,
So
dude.
stoked.
I told you before this, but like I didn't know you were a Northeast Philly guy. And like I was talking to
Yeah.
somebody else on this podcast recently. I think it was Smitty from Barstool. I had one of the guys from Barstool Sports on, and I
Oh,
was like,
awesome.
dude,
Yeah.
like meeting people from Philly, especially like in the creative field, like you don't think of like Northeast Philadelphia as like an artist haven per se, but like to meet someone who's like fucking doing
Dude,
it.
yeah, yeah. You know what's crazy? I totally, being from Northeast Philly, I totally understand that. But
Yeah.
it's because all the artists, you know what I mean? All of us that were doing stuff, we were just in our basements. We were like
Yeah.
locked. We were locked in because we didn't want to go out into the street. We didn't want to go out into the world and like what fucking do pills with our homies and you know what I mean that around the corner. You know what I mean?
Yo,
Yeah,
that is the most
we're getting
literally
real fast.
that is literally like the most like perfect interpretation. Is like, yo, I didn't want to have to go do 30s with my boys down at the playground.
And we
Oh
got
my
real
God.
real quick.
I mean, dude, it's a connection right away, man. We start off
Yeah.
every interview with just asking, dude, what's quarantine been like for you?
Oh, like for everyone, it's been tough. And especially with artists and musicians and bands, you know what I mean, and
Yeah.
who I'm surrounded by. It's been super tough because not only can we not work like everybody else in the world, but it's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because especially musicians, yourself included, music shows. It was the first to go, and it's probably gonna be the last to come back. You know
Isn't
what I
that
mean?
the most fucked up part? It's like
Yeah.
there is no direct timeline for what we can do, but
Yep.
it
Yep.
just feels like we're just at the end of the totem pole. Like I was laughing because
Yeah.
I was on a plane like 3 days ago, and the plane was
Yeah.
completely full, like literally 400 people on a tube in
Yeah.
the sky.
Oh shit.
And
Yeah.
I was and to myself, I leaned to the guy next to me, and I'm like, so we can't put anybody in a music venue and like space it out or
Yeah.
like make something happen, bro. And like so.
Yeah.
As a producer, like, and you're a studio rat, obviously, and we're going to get into that. But
Yep.
I mean, have you been working more or less, or has it been more? Has anything changed?
Oh yeah. A lot has changed. I never not work. No matter what, I never not work. When the lockdown happened, we took time away from obviously just keep safe from bringing bands in. Like no bands were coming in for a few months, and then I'm always behind. I always have like 3 or 4 records that I'm behind on whether it's mixing or finishing or whatever. So I was always busy, and I kind of used that time just to catch up. But yeah. If anything, it's probably even a little crazier now because all my homies, they just want to make music.
Yeah.
They all want to make music. So we've been finding ways to do it safely, and make sure that people, my coworkers here are safe. So we started to get bands tested before we start a record.
Smart.
And then they come in here and they just live and we work together. So it's like, I'm grateful for that I'm not just doing like sessions here and there, with like, and it sucks for those that have to deal with that. And it's really hard. I'm grateful and lucky that bands, artists come here and they live here. That's even pre-pandemic. They live here. So they just stay in our bubble. We basically create our own NBA bubble every 6 weeks.
Fucking awesome. And I think that's the wildest thing to me too. And it's something I talk with a lot of musicians about because we are one of the bands that like we had the option of moving to Nashville or the option to move into LA.
Yeah.
We just were like, dude, we're not those people. Like we want to stay in Philly and make it happen here.
Yeah.
As someone who's obviously had fucking wild success and obviously has worked with a bunch of people and you're having people come to you, like, was there ever a moment in time where you were like, hey, maybe the grass would be greener moving to LA or New York or Nashville or some shit like that?
I not really.
I like that answer.
It's just, I think my energy is, I'm just inspired by what's around me.
Mm-hmm.
And, it always felt right. Philly just felt right. It just felt like my blood. You know what I mean? Being in the area just felt, it's just in my blood. And that Philly attitude, our work ethic, you know what I mean? That we're so notoriously known for.
Oh, that's the realest shit though. When you do go other places and it's like, I never want to like directly say it to someone's face when I'm like in LA or some shit like that. I don't want to be like, yo, you motherfuckers move half speed. Like you don't get it.
Yo,
like,
Dude, honestly, if we moved on to the beach, we moved to Malibu, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You'll see my work output probably cut in half, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah,
Because,
you're in Conchi. It's not like you're staring out into the ocean. You're chilling. You're in the city.
Yeah,
Right?
so straight up, our studio you can't see, but our studio there's no windows, so
I
it's
love
like a
that.
big casino.
Yeah.
So we're just working.
Yes.
So every single day I come in at 9 a.m. and then I leave at 9 p.m.
Yep.
and I don't see the day disappear. I just work. You know what I mean? It's probably not the healthiest thing, but it's healthy for my workflow. You know what I
Bro,
mean? So
me and you were fucking peas in a pod, dude. I'm telling you right now, like that
yeah.
is I've used the phrase it's like being in a casino a million times because there's no clocks.
Hell yeah.
There's no windows.
Yeah.
And it's usually filled with smoke. So it's one of those things, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for my environment. I'm grateful for where I came from and just the energy around me. I can't, I do a lot of work, one of my record labels based in Manhattan, you know what I mean? So, I do a lot of projects every now and then, writing sessions, LA, New York or whatever. And, I scratch the itch of like, getting to hang in a different environment, but this is home.
Bro, for me, the hardest part was, and because during quarantine, I would say in the first like 3 weeks of quarantine, I probably like put demos down for like 40 songs. And then all of a sudden, all of my kind of like inspiration just kind of like stalled out because I was staring at the same four walls all the time.
Yeah.
And so finally getting out of the city and getting to right back in Nashville with my people down there, it was like,
that's awesome.
I told you before we started, I probably went down there and I wrote like half a record just for ignorant guitar shit because that's what I want to do right now. And
you just want to exert that energy,
bro, and that's what it needs to be right now. And here's the funny thing too, because one of your records you produced recently was one of the things that like piqued my interest during quarantine and got me back into guitar mode, and it was Hello Exile. And I'm looking and just by the way, fuck you for that record, dude. It's so good. It's so good.
Thank you, man. Thank you. That's one of my favorite records I've ever done.
Just looking at your slate of what you've done even recently between Menzingers, and this is like the funniest shit to me. Like you're doing Bouncing Souls, you're doing the fucking Code Orange record, which I was talking to Sarah Parker from WMMR on this podcast not long ago. Yeah. And she said that's the only thing she can listen to right now. Like that's her shit. Like first
amazing.
off, bro, your slate is so all over the place. Like, and I mean, it all has your kind of like, I don't know, your touch to it, but like, what is it like working with so many different artists and doing so many different things?
That is why I do this. You know what I mean? I do not like being a genre specific person. Yes. I always tell artists, I've told artists since I was in high school, I was like, I am not a sound guy. I don't give a shit about how it's going to sound. It's going to sound great. I know it is, you know what I mean? But I'm not a nerd about that. Yep. I want to be a song guy.
Yes.
So I don't care what you sound like. I don't care what the genre is. My thing is a good song is a good song. That's why Miss Lauryn Hill worked with me. That's why, that's why Title Fight worked with me, because they know I just cared about the product, not about them fitting into a scene or fitting into a genre. People don't come here for a Studio 4 sound or Williams sound. That's not why they come here. My goal is for me to join their band, to join their process, and make the coolest songs. That's all I'm trying to do.
I think I'm falling in love with her here, dude. I really do. Like this is like what we fucking talk about though. And so many people get locked into having to, and I think it's more, we pay a lot of attention to like what's going on in the rock world, or if you're talking the rock world, like looking at Spotify charts and shit like that. And everything just happens to be so either non sequitur or it's so genre specific, and it bores me. I just want to make good songs. That's like when I listen to the Menzingers record and I listen to songs like Anna or like America, You're Freaking Me Out, like that could be in any genre. The song itself is so well written. And
it's about the song.
It is about the song, man. And like you listen to something like Code Orange, like how can you take yourself as a producer and say like, okay, that's a good song, even though I don't really know what's being said, and it's such chaos. And then you go to more of a pop formatted thing, like songs like Anna. Like is that odd for you, or is it just something you love to dive into?
No, it's that dude, that's what I live for. I live for being able to do whatever. Obviously, I love working on pop formulaic song, or not just like more pop centric songs.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I grew up on, but I also love experimenting.
Yes.
So my goal is to make the best experience within a song. And Code Orange, those guys taught me so much. They pushed me, I pushed them back. The goal was to get the craziest experience with this record. And we did, man. And then there's a few songs that are definitely they have huge choruses. So we built
Yeah.
the songs around the huge choruses. Autumn Carbine, for one,
I mean, dude,
our goal was to just
I think of a band like Violent Soho that I've seen you work with, and you're
yeah,
talking about
yeah,
a violent per se band, like something that's fucking
yeah,
an audio attack, but at the same
yeah,
time come with these choruses that you're like, holy shit, this actually
yeah,
makes a lot of sense. Like, I love
yeah,
the fact that you can put that together. And I feel like my big thing is I try and tell the guests on the podcast like what I appreciate about them. And I feel like you
yeah.
bring the absolute best out of everybody that you work with. And I want you to know
Dude,
I
thank
really
you.
appreciate that as a listener.
Thank you. Thank you. That means a lot, man. That's all. And that's all I'm ever try to do. I like leaving a record knowing that we straight up did the best we could. And I feel that confident every single record that we couldn't have done a better job. You know what I mean? Like these are the best batches of songs that we could possibly do. That's my goal. I want to leave tired. I always equate things to sports. You know what I mean?
Same here, bro.
And I was like, I like leaving it all in the field. I like knowing that I tried everything and I exhausted everything in a creative way. It should feel good while it's happening. But I just want to make sure that we tried everything and I'm fortunate enough that we stuck to it. And I work with a bunch of artists that are that inspired to be down for the ride.
Bro, I bring this up all the time, but like when we leave the studio after say like a 14, 15-hour day and you just leave and like, cause you're doing it the next day again and the day after that, by the end of that stretch, you should have no serotonin left in your body. When you're done, like it's the way I come back when I'm from tour. I'm sitting on the couch for like 3 days cause I am drained completely, but it's the best feeling in the world, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I do this every single day. And a lot of my friends were like, dude, well, you're actually crazy. I'm not that crazy of a person. I'm not that weird of a person, but they're like, dude, the way you do, I literally do this every day from 9 to 9. I go home and mix. You know what I mean? I do it every single day. But it's just what I was born to do. But it's definitely it's a stress, but it's a stress. It's like a drug, man. This is my addiction.
100.
You know what
Dude,
I mean?
The band's gonna listen back to this, right? And they're gonna be like, "Yo, that's exactly the same shit we say to you." Like, I am the person who like, it's 24/7, 365. There's no fucking break. It's gas pedal all the time. I got a question for you. So I was looking something up on you, and did you grew up on hip hop?
Hip hop was my life, man. Hip hop was my life. That's
And yet you're doing Code Orange records. Like, it's just fucking
that's why they're working with me.
Yeah.
That's why these bands are working with me. And it's again, I wasn't genre specific. I grew up hip hop was the first genre of music I ever fell in love with.
Yep.
And then I immediately got into like In Utero. And when I listened to In Utero, that was like, all right, what is this? What is guitar, electric, distorted guitar music?
Yep.
But Chronic was that dude. That was that was what got me into music. Fuji's the score. You know what I mean? Like,
dude, 100%.
The score made me fall in love with music. Chronic, like it brought me in, but then the score, like, it fucked me up even when I was a kid. So yeah. I think people don't know that part about me because I've been so in this world. But the reason why Title Fight worked with me was because I was working with Lauryn. I just wasn't working with these rock acts. I was working with Lauryn Hill. I was working with other things. So they wanted something different. And then Lauryn Hill, Schoolie D worked with me because they knew I could navigate through live instruments. So
and you
like
played the drums for Schoolie D, right? You played the drums for Schoolie D.
I was a drummer, bass player, music director. We did a bunch of touring together. It was a fun ride. That dude,
here's the thing too.
I owe a lot to him.
The thing for me too is people don't look at me or like hear the music that I make and right away think like this dude is like a rap historian. I'm a fucking nerd. Yeah. Like I need to know everything. And the college, I always say the college dropout was like the moment when I was a kid where everything my dad gave me kind of melted away, and then the college dropout fucking warped my brain. Like what was it like hip hop wise? Like what was your transition? So you said like the Chronic and the score, and then like going through time.
Yeah, I think so those two records are definitely the two most integral records to my background because those are the first two records I fell in love with, And but I remember in 2000, it was 1999, the fall of 1999, Chronic 2001 came out.
Yeah.
And I listened to it and still to this day I reference it because it's still one of the best sounding hip hop records of all time.
100. Well, I mean, I still like I listen to Explosive in the car like once a week just because I can't believe it sounds that fucking good.
Yeah. That was transformative in like not only were the songs great, it was a legendary record, but these sounds, just the feel of it is punching me in the face.
Yep.
I wouldn't do that with music, period, with drums, with rock music, I was playing
100%.
drums at the time. I was like, how do I do this with like acoustic drums, So that really fucked me up. It changed the game, because now, even today, I try to make rock records hit you like that. And sometimes it's impossible because they're acoustic hits versus, sampled, processed samples, right?
Right.
But that's my goal. I want all my records to compete, even if it's a freaking singer-songwriter, you know what I mean?
100%, dude.
Single vocal, right? I still wanted to compete and punch like Chronic 2001 did, when I first heard it.
That is such a perfect like corollary, because it's not always about like what you're bringing to the table. It's about like the structure and the punch of a song in itself. And like, you're not always going to be able to get the best technical sounds. But if you can make a song fucking hit you the right way, it just, if
you can make it hit you, hey, I just want all my records to touch the soul. Again, growing up on records like that, growing up on, Nirvana records and Pixies records and Lauryn Hill records, Miseducation, all those spoke to the heart so quick. They spoke to the heart, and that's what I want my records to do. I just want to speak to your soul, and that's, Stevie Wonder records, you know what I mean? I got into Stevie pretty late. I probably got Stevie like when I was 18, 19, but Songs for in the Key of Life's probably top album. 3 favorite records of all time.
He's a guy too, like, it does not make sense that a human being could make something sound that way. It was like fucking psychedelic soul pop Motown. It was fucking insane, dude.
Insane.
What was the first thing what was the first thing you ever produced? And then what was the first thing you ever produced that you were like, holy fuck, like this is what I would like, this is what I want this shit to sound like?
Dude, I think, I don't know. I think even when I was in high school, I would record my own band stuff. You know what I mean? And it was, I think a lot. It's funny because in high school and during college, nobody wanted to play in bands with me because I was such like not a control freak, but I had a vision.
Yes,
I had a vision. And I had things, and then I remember our manager at that time, back when I was in high school, was like, "Will, I know these guys aren't fucking you right now, but you make a really good producer." And I'm like, well, I don't know, you know what I mean? But so I was always producing, even when I was like 13, 14, when I was recording in studios, it was always me kind of wanting to kind of direct. I never had the confidence or the direction of like, oh, I'm a producer now.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I even have that today. I don't know. My thing is, I just go into it and I just want to do the best we can. And so I never felt like a turning point, you know what I mean? Of like, oh shit, I want all my records. It's not that, I think even doing, big, which was a very big record for me, Flora Green, Title Fight, 8 years ago, one of the most important records of my life. I thought I was ruining the band every step of the way. Wow. You know what I mean? I always second question. I'm always, I was like, damn, is this the best we can do? Every night I'm like, damn, is this the best take we can have? Damn, is this structure the right structure? Yeah. I'm always doing that. I do that on the record I'm doing right now. You know what I mean? I stay up at night. So it's like, I never found this thing where I'm like, oh yeah, we did it. This is perfect. I'm the most critical about myself. Yeah. But I know that we're leaving all on the field, so I know we did the best we can. But yeah, I've never been a complacent person.
Me neither, bro.
Like, yeah, this is the record. This is my mold. There's none of that. That's why when a band like Circus Survive, who I've done 4 records with, every record we want to approach it differently. Turnover, we've done 4 LPs and like 3 7-inches. Wow. Every record we want to approach differently because we just want to push ourselves. We want to grow. We don't like a mold, dude. I don't like having a mold. So that's just how I roll. So I can't even answer the second question, even though I want to. It's just
I love that. No, but I think the thing I took out of that answer, though, I really liked was the fact that you never like even considered yourself as a producer. Even as you're going through, you get a Grammy nod, you're doing all this shit. It's just kind of like, it seems like it's just like an extension of yourself. And then you just happened, you are becoming more and more of yourself as time goes on.
Yeah, that's it. I just do what I do. And then, sometimes I'm very involved, sometimes I'm just capturing in the best way. Sometimes I'm writing, you know what I mean? Like whatever it is, whatever I need, whatever I can contribute to make the song the best it can be. That's what I do in any room. And if you don't like that, we're not meant to.
That's the shit that should happen though. I've worked with so many producers over the years, just like working my way through, and I've always been more invested, and I spend so much time talking to the producers that aren't as passive. I want somebody to come in there and say, we can do that better. We can do that better. You could rewrite that hook. You could take that pre-chorus out. Like, I don't want somebody to sit back there and engineer more than produce. I want you to get in there and fucking make this song the best it can be.
Yeah, absolutely.
But when you are producing, right? And I wrote this song down because this was the first thing that I heard from the Menzingers that I was like, holy fuck. And it was after the party. Yeah. When you guys are in the studio and you're listening back to that, is there ever a moment when you're like, because I always talk about this, like, I always wonder if like Dr. Dre, when he was listening back to like Forgot About Dre, he's like, yep, that's a hit. Like when you heard after the party for the first time, you're like, well, yep, that's one. There we go. Put that on this fucking scoreboard.
I felt that way with Lookers.
Okay.
I felt that with Lookers. I thought when we recorded Lookers, I was like, this is going to change the band's career. This is going to catapult them in which I think it did in a different way. And it did. After the party, I knew it was a special song. Mm-hmm. I honestly underestimated how well it was going to connect with people. You know what I mean?
That's how it always happens.
I knew it was a special song.
It's always the song you didn't expect to work. That like it's always like the fucking seventh song on the album when people hit you up and be like, "Yo, that's that shit," and I'm like, I don't even think about that song, but randomly enough, it just winds up being the song.
I'm great. I love that track. I love that track.
Do you spend a lot of time like as far as like mentors go? Like I don't know if like mentors you work with or different like artists you worked with over the years, but do you have a lot of people that kind of I don't know you go to and you bounce ideas off of? Like if you're working on a record for a band and you're like, hey, so and so, listen to this and let me know what you think, or are you more of someone who you're totally locked in with the band in the room?
Oh, I'm locked in with the artist in the room. But that being said, when I finish something, when I rather we have a rough of something, I have a kind of my inner circle of people. You know what I mean? People that I trust to say, "Yo, dude, this rocks. Do you like this?" You know, and usually I'm not that far off from people. It's almost like I just need kind of confirmation from people that I trust to say, dude, what you're doing is right. You know, and then if they say, dude, I don't know, I'm like, yeah, you're right. It's usually confirming something. It's rather confirming how great it is or confirming my issues with it. And but usually, man, I'm very confident on how I feel with stuff. You know, when you write a part, I was just working with a singer who just left, and he was saying, it's like other guys that he works with, if they say they don't like something, he doesn't take them seriously because he doesn't trust that they see the vision, the end goal. When he hears it from me, he knows I have the end goal in mind, so he trusts what I have to say. And that's the thing. I trust myself. I'll bet on myself than anybody else around me. That's my goal. I bet on myself. So, and if 1 in 100 times it doesn't work, I'm good with the other 99. You know what I mean? So,
I feel the same way too. Like if I'm ever in a room writing with people or even with the band, if I come up with something and I'm like, I know that this pre-chorus is that shit and that's going to lead to something better. Yeah. Like I have to really trust somebody for them to say like, hey, like, I don't know about that. And I'm like, I think I might know. But then like if someone like you comes along and they're like, yo, honestly, you could cut that fucking second verse in half. I'd be like, you know what? You're probably right about that.
Yeah. And the thing is, I never come at an idea without offering my idea. Right. So if I say, it's like, here's A, here's B, let's listen to objectively. Listen to objectively, which one is better? You know what I mean? There is
absolutely nothing worse in a creative scenario than someone just saying, no, that doesn't work, but not having anything to contribute to the conversation.
Yeah.
Oh my
God.
Constructive. We had a situation in the studio. We were doing pre-production like a month ago, and our drummer, Jimmy, because Jimmy is my songwriting muse. I don't know. Like he's the guy I go to and I say, like, what do you think about this idea? Yeah. And he goes, nah, I just don't like it. And I said, I literally just like gripped him up by the shirt and I was like, yo, you better come with a fucking idea if you're going to like, don't fucking come to me unless you have an idea. Do you consider yourself a songwriter? Like, do you write songs?
You can look at my credits. I don't gloat about it. You know what I mean? Because the thing is, I write. Rather, when I do stuff by myself, yes, I do consider myself a songwriter, but I also write a lot with bands.
I love that. I mean? I fucking love that.
And I write with artists, and that's the thing. I don't need to be in the limelight for people to say, "Yo, man, Will did this, Will did that, Will did." Dude, fucking as long as the band knows, and as long as the songs are great, and fucking the checks are right, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
then fucking
exactly.
it's all then it's all gravy, man. But that's one of my, I think, kind of why a lot of artists work with me is that they know I contribute compositionally to hooks, to whatever, to the songs, you know what I mean? I co-write a lot with most of the artists that I work with.
And I
grateful for
fucking love that. And that's the thing too. I think that's something that in our area in Philadelphia, it's almost like it's not known that that's part of the process. Like until you get to a higher echelon. When you're in places like Nashville, it's everything is a co-write. You're going in to write with people.
Yeah.
But when I hear about people doing that up here, I fucking love it because it just makes songs so much better. It's more than one perspective.
I mean, that's why I remember growing up and I went to this music conference around here. I was like 13 maybe, and someone was like, Philly, especially in the music scene, they're like the fucking crab buckets in Chinatown, where when one gets to the top, the other one clamps it down.
Yep.
Whereas they can just work together and get out of there. It's almost 100%. Like that movie Invincible, where it's like your neighborhood homies don't want, almost they have this like stigma seeing you succeed. And it's like, yo, if we all just work together and fuck the egos, we can do whatever the fuck we want, man. And we can accomplish anything, you know? So I like using resources around me, and I like people using me to make the coolest shit we possibly can.
Bro, per capita, like just like for natural born Philadelphians, because I'm not going to count Nashville or LA because those people aren't from there. They're all transplants. Per capita, there is no more fucking talented place on earth than Philadelphia. And I will put that up against anybody. 100%. Anybody. And there's so many.
Look at all your pop artists. They are picking band members from Philly, your Philly gospel scene. You know what I mean?
You think about Arnetta Johnson, the fucking she's unbelievable. She toured with Beyonce. You don't even think about it. There's so many people that come out of here, and even people who leave and they don't necessarily give the love back to their hometown. But I think about someone like Amos Lee, who was teaching in fucking high school in Philly till he was like 32.
Recorded here,
fucking,
back in the day.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I've always loved to watch people succeed out of here. And then other places, but sing the praises of where we're from, and that meant so much to me.
And the reason why I am the way I am is because of the environment that I grew up in. You know what I mean? So it's much respect to Philly. I'll tell you that.
Well, dude, we're also hard-headed, and we also have fucking thick skin. You ever work with someone who doesn't have thick skin? It's the worst experience ever.
No, that's the worst. I don't do that. I don't enjoy that.
Yo, you get in the studio with somebody, and like I can look at my boys and just be like, "Yo, that sucked." But you say it to somebody else, and you see them retreat into themselves. Like I don't know, like this, because you obviously have a lot of people come in from other areas to work with you.
Yeah.
What is that like? Because especially you are in Conchi, so you're just like slightly removed from the city too.
Yeah.
Like, is it like almost like an adult camp, like in a weird way? Like you have people just staying with you.
It is. Again, I like creating our own bubble, and we're in here for 4, 5, 6 weeks together, just us. We eat together, we write together, we make music together all day, we drink together, we party together. It's our bubble, and the thing is, man, I like to think I vet out the artists that I work with pretty well.
Yeah.
Just because I love an artist doesn't mean we're meant to work together. Sometimes
100%.
doesn't work that way. If we don't have chemistry, and it just doesn't seem like we benefit from working together, I can just be a fan. That's cool. I accept 100%. That. I meant to just be a fan of this artist, but most of the time when we get together and we just vibe, we're going to say, oh man, we can vibe with each other. We're going to get something out of each other. That's most of the time.
That's what it is. It's not like a, what can you do for my career kind of a thing. It's more of a, like, how can me and you pull something magical out of each other?
Yeah, that's the goal. And if the other artist or the other side isn't down and their agenda is different, that's cool. You do your thing. I'll do what I want to do and what I want to feel with someone else that wants to feel the same thing. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Dude, and I mean, you're doing it, man, because I just listen, like everything you do, I wind up getting some sort of emotional reaction from. And I want you, like, because that's not a common thing. Like, that's really not, because everybody's searching for that. Everyone is searching for that. And it's just a matter of it's right producer, right artist, and then making the best song possible. I
don't give a fuck. Yeah. I don't give a fuck what something sounds like to someone or if it becomes like a huge hit or how successful something is. As long as it touches the soul, man. Yeah, that's all I care about. Yeah.
What do you think your greatest strength as a producer is? I know this is like a fucking like job interview question. Like, what's your biggest weakness?
Yeah.
What's your biggest, like, what is, because I think, like, I can say it from my perspective. Like, as a songwriter, I think I write in really good pop formats, and I think I can write a great chorus. Like, as a producer, what do you do the best? What do you pull the best out of somebody? Like, is it more on the technical side or?
No, definitely on the technical side. Again, that's not where my investment is. My
Right.
investment are in the songs, and I think my biggest strength is my objectivity.
I like that.
I will tell any artist, like, dude, if I have an idea, if I have a new hook, and someone says, "Oh, Will, that's cool, but I actually wrote something too," I'll be first to say, "Yup, that's better. Yup, that's better." And then you know what that does? That when I actually do feel like mine is better, they trust it
Yeah.
because they know that I'm objective. And that's the thing. Everyone has great ideas.
Yeah.
Everyone has great ideas. But how you kind of navigate through and pick what you use is all about being able to be objective. And I think
It's about the death of ego. It's literally about the death of the ego and just being able to go in there and say, I'm just fucking releasing myself into this creative environment and then seeing what the best thing is. It doesn't have to do with me. It's not the Colin show. It's not the Will show. It's the fucking squad.
I always tell bands when they come in, I'm naturally lazy. I don't want to do anything. I want the songs to be perfect. You guys come in and feel like, yo, let's just record. Let's go. Let's just party. It doesn't work that way because I want it to be great. I want the songs to be fucking perfect. And that's where bands trust me and artists trust me, is that I'm able to have this like unbiased look and an unbiased attachment to the songs. I think that's so important. It wasn't always like that. Like everyone has a sense of ego and everyone has a sense of attachment. I've worked, tried to work really hard in the last decade to kind of let go of an attachment to something, and always know that, dude, there's always gonna be another idea. There's always another idea. You know what I mean? So let's just chase down the best ones. And if it's your idea, if it's my idea, this dude's idea, Colin's idea, whatever, whatever it is, as long as it's the best thing, that's how we're all gonna fucking eat. You know what I mean?
It's so funny too, because like this has been such a point in our band, and it's something that I've openly admitted in interviews and just to the band themselves. I'll look them in the face and say this. When we were in college first starting out, it was the Colin show. I wrote all the songs, I put all the music together. It was like, show up and do your job. But when I look at it, we're a 6 to 7 piece band depending on the circumstance. And when I'm in a band with someone like Erica Ruiz, who also sings in the band, who is touched by God with this amazing voice, and I'm not letting her her do her fullest, like live to her fullest potential, then I'm an asshole and I'm hurting the band. I like 3 years ago, I just fucking looked myself in the mirror. I killed the ego and said, we're doing this as a group. And it's been so beneficial. And to hear you say, I like the fact that you admitted that you've worked on that. Like you've gone through the process of like thinking it's the Will show and then surrendering to the creativity. Like that's fucking amazing, dude.
Yeah, and that's again, it's a team effort. It's so cliche, but with everything, sports, whatever, is always a team effort, and getting the best out of everyone in the room. That's it, man. That's it. Easier said than done, but it's worth it.
You can put together an all-star team. I mean, the Yankees payroll is like $400 million, but if the team doesn't vibe and there's a coach that doesn't get the most out of everybody, you're not gonna get there. That actually leads me to the end of the interview here. I always ask 5 random questions. Just kind of a way for people to get to know you on the way out the door. And the first one I was going to say was, what is the greatest moment for you as a Philly sports fan?
Oh my God. The 08 parade.
There you go. Where were you? Where were you?
Dude, I followed the parade.
Did you?
I followed the entire parade. Dude, I'm my homies know, and I think some people that caught a few interviews know, I am, I'm not saying the biggest, everyone says they're biggest, but I'm a very big Phillies fan.
Dude,
I actually have the world's largest Philadelphia Phillies game used equipment collection in the world. Like, dude, that's an actual stat,
You motherfucker. The more we talk,
I have a couple auctions.
I played 1.5 years of baseball at Westchester University. I was all city Philly at Archbishop Ryan.
Hell yeah.
And I worked for the Phillies in college.
Hell yeah.
I coached their kids camps. So I would get to go. And this was like 2011. So Chase Utley's still on the team. Ryan Howard's still on the team. Raul Baez. Golden era.
Yeah.
I was at City Hall. I was like 15. I was shit-faced drunk, and then I took the train back to work in the afternoon at Texas Roadhouse in Bensalem as a host.
Amazing.
Yo, I've been there.
I've been at Texas Roadhouse for sure.
Shout out to Texas Roadhouse, dude. Back in the day job.
Shout out.
Second question. What's the first album you ever bought?
Ooh, first album that I bought
with your own money.
Myself,
with your own money.
My own money was the third Boyz II Men record.
Ooh, let's
the
go.
one with one with 4 Seasons of Loneliness. Damn, I'm forgetting the name of the record. It was
doesn't matter.
dude,
You have
the
enough
one after
detail
2.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
We are so lucky that they're from here, because I don't know that there's ever been a more vocally talented group in the history of America.
No, they're probably the most perfect boy band. You know what I mean? And they're way more. They're worth more than that, but they're the original. You know what I mean? Like they're so skilled, and being from Kappa, they went to Kappa. You
bro,
know,
that's the
Philly.
craziest shit. It really is. My cousins went to Kappa,
I'm
bro.
I'm looking at their platinum record right now, because Phil, my mentor, tracked the first 2 records here. I'm looking at the End of the Road platinum record right now.
Bro, shout out to Phil Nicolo. I have a great Phil Nicolo story, actually. Our saxophone player, Will, he's in a group called Darla that Phil produced.
Oh, yeah.
So Will is us and
awesome.
Darla. Darla's fucking dope. So Will Shade, he asked us to play this festival. This is like 2 years ago or whatever, and we're going up. We're sound checking before, and Phil walks up, and I know Phil's legacy. I know who Phil is, and we're sound checking, and our drummer Jimmy has a drum pad next to him at SBD just to fucking get sounds for the set. And Phil's talking to me, right? He's in the middle of a conversation, and Jimmy hits this one fucking clap on the drum pad, and Phil stops, and he just goes, "Yo, don't ever use that sound again." Like legitimately, dead middle of the conversation.
Some Phil shit.
Yo, dead middle of the conversation. I was just, I was like, "Yeah, dude, like I love everything you've ever done." He's like, "Yo, don't do that." All right, so
that's amazing.
We're taking Battered and Blue out of the set list because we need that fucking clap. But Neil's going. That's
amazing.
Oh shit, I can't read my handwriting. Holy fuck! All right, I'm just going. I'm going for it. Oh, name an artist you want to work with that you haven't worked with yet. This is a bucket list thing.
Dude, I get that. I get that question a lot, and I mean this. I mean this very, 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 very seriously. I only want to work with people that want to work with me.
Yeah.
So I, there's a bunch of I have favorite artists, but I've worked with a few favorite artists, and again, chemistry might have been perfect or whatever.
Yeah.
Is that I don't care. Again, my favorite feeling in the world of making music, no matter who it is this feeling of connectivity, and we're literally hugging each other by 9 p.m. saying, "Oh my God, we did the best thing." It could be the smallest band I work with. It could be Panic the Disco. It could be Lauryn Hill. 100%. Whatever. It's all the same feeling to me. So I've told my manager to not chase bands. I don't care. I don't want that. I want people that find me to they want to work with me. And that's why I want to work with them, and that's it's like this interview. We're vibing because we both wanted to do this, right?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So
100%.
That's what makes the best relations.
And I even like a record you did for Cara Cara out of Philly. I
love Cara.
Yo, that fucking band, that record, that EP is really fucking cool. I was listening this morning when I was driving to go for a run. I was like, this is fucking dope.
We're brewing on some new stuff.
I love that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, if there's one, like, because I always ask this question to producers, like, if there's one artist, like, in your mind that you're like, okay, they're really good, I like what they do, but if I got my hands on them, the shit we would make would be fucking ridiculous. I would love to work. Like, for me, like, I'm interested in artists like this is such an easy one, but Pharrell. I just love what Pharrell does, and I would just love to just one fucking time get in a room and just say like, okay, let's just see what comes out of this.
Yeah. Honestly, there was probably one band that I felt the way growing up, especially in my teens, and it was Quicksand. You know what I mean? I thought that they were one of my favorite bands growing up, and they stopped making records in '97-ish or whatever.
Yeah.
And I made their comeback record in 2017.
See, so that's fucking so sick.
That was a bucket, and I never chased it. That's the thing. I was okay being a fan of Quicksand for the rest of my life, just being a fan. But yeah, and same thing. The bass player, he plays in the Deftones, and it's like kind of similar thing. You know what I mean? So it's like people like that I don't know if we connect, but then when we work together, we fucking connected. You know what I mean? That's what I appreciate. That's what I appreciate. It's not until we have a conversation where I'm like, I have to work with this guy because I'm a fan of music. I can just listen to it and be a fan. But 100%. When I vibe with someone and say, Colin, yo, we gotta work. We gotta do a track together one day. You know what I mean? It's like that's that good shit. That's what I live for.
We do. By the way, we do. I'm saying that right now. We
let's
fucking
do it.
do.
Let's do it.
I'm fucking
let's
dead
do
serious.
It.
Yeah, this is not a joke. We're gonna talk after this.
Fuck yeah.
What's your favorite alcoholic beverage?
Ooh,
Here we go.
I'm a big cocktail
Me too.
guy. But my favorite drink, I think my favorite thing to ingest into my body in the world is a caipirinha. It's a Brazilian caipirinha.
Ooh.
It's the national drink of Brazil. You know, it's my favorite, not just my favorite cocktail, but it's my favorite liquid there
What
is on earth.
what is it?
Yeah. So it's it's found in Brazil. You know, I fell in love with it when we were touring in Brazil with Lauryn Hill, and it's made from like a sugarcane rum called cachaça, and I always pronounce it fucked up,
Let's
but
go. Who gives
it's
a fuck?
basically muddle fruit. It's so fresh, muddle fruit, a little bit of sugar, and just a rum to the top. That's it, and it's the most refreshing thing. It's the best thing. It's
This
the best
literally
thing.
it sounds like a sugarcane rum old fashioned in a weird way. Like it
Exactly. It's a special cocktail. It's a special drink.
I know what I'm bringing to fucking studio for. I can tell you that much. We're fucking drinking Caprias all day.
Yeah.
Dude, and then last question I guess would be, and I always ask this is the last question, but like, what's the plan for the rest of the year? Like, you fucking bogged down? Are you kind of spaced out now? Like, what's your deal?
No, I am bogged down. I think, this year, back in April, the silver lining for me was like, oh, maybe end of the year I can like chill, and it just never turns out that way. So we're working on a pretty kind of secret.
You wouldn't want it that way.
Yeah.
Don't lie to me.
Yeah. We're working on a pretty kind of secret record right now that'll probably take us until about the end of the year, and then we have another I won't say who, but another Philly comeback type of thing.
We're fucking keeping that on the down low
that we're working on. Yeah, so yeah, we got a lot of special stuff in the works. Got a lot of stuff for the label in the works. We just signed an incredible label band to my label with Elektra. And they're called Orson Welles that we're going to be dropping soon. So,
fuck, you're with Elektra. That's dope. Because it's your label situation. It's Black Cement and it's Memory
Music.
Yeah,
two different things, two complete different things. One's an indie that I do with my partner Tim and my manager, and that Run for Cover. We kind of partner with Run for Cover on it. And then the other thing is a major label subsidiary called Black Cement that we do with the Elektra music group.
Bro, you're a fucking monster. I fully enjoy this, and I really feel like you go into some of these and you don't know what to expect, and this was everything I hoped it would be and more.
Hell yeah, I'm glad.
Bro, before we get out of here, one more thing too. So Wendy Rollins hit me up last week, right? Because she posted something
Wendy.
about. I mean, Wendy's like family to me at this point. We stay with her in Atlanta and shit. I posted something about you coming on, and she hit me up. And this was like a little bit, or I hit her up after she had posted something about a song you did. And I was like, yo, Will, you coming on the podcast? And she was like, her exact words were like, yo, you motherfucker, I was going to ask him to be on the podcast. And I was like, yo, I don't think this is like an exclusive thing. I'm pretty sure you can do both.
Yeah.
And then when I was in Nashville, I saw she dropped the episode, and I was about to hit her up and be like, yo, motherfucker, what the, like, just mess with her. But she's the best, yo.
It